Let's find out what's in the feed. What's in the feed this week? Let's find out what's in the feed. Hey everybody, welcome to What's in the Feed. For this week, happy to see you. Hope your week was great. This week, we're going to be doing the top 5, roll the tape, and we're going to be introducing a new segment called Comment of the Week. Now, as you guys know, the whole concept of the show is created around the content, the comments, the posts, and the videos that you guys post weekly. So I'll go through weekly, pick the top 5 most engaged on comments or posts. Also, we will do a segment where we show some of the most breaking news stories that happen throughout the week. And for me, because most of the engagement that I get on X is based upon my comments, Low Tone, of course, the king of comments, they don't always get engaged on. So all the comments that I look at, that I like, that I enjoy, may not get a lot of engagement, but there's always one that I have that's my favorite, that'll really get a tickle out of me. So I thought we should highlight the comment of the week as a segment in itself. Now, usually what happens is if I see a post that pops up from a user or a comment that's on a post that makes me giggle, I will follow that person. So as a reward, simply my little trophy is I'll say, hey, that's the comment of the week, and I'll follow the person. Now, if I'm already following, what I do is I will like all of their posts for 24 hours. So it's a little bit of a thanks from me for your hard work, for their hard work. I know a lot of people are on X engaging. If you've noticed, like I've noticed, it's become a little bit of a ghost town. So what I did, because I know if my numbers look the way that your numbers look, the engagement and the impressions have gone way down. So the reach that I normally would have, even with the smaller following that I have, I've always mentioned that I really don't understand what goes on with the followers, because I can get all kinds of crazy engagement, tens of thousands of looks, but I don't get a lot of follows, but I do get a lot of attention. And of course, I do get a lot of responses from very big name influencers and content providers, whom I know, whom we chat. So when it affects the people up at top, it affects the guys on the bottom too. If no one's seeing their posts, then they're not seeing my comments and so on and so forth. And I know that a lot of you guys feel this. So I have opened up a Truth Social account. The Truth Social essentially is a carbon copy of X. There's a few minor differences. And I always wondered what was going on with Truth Social anyway, because there was that big IPO. So they went public and they made a lot of money, but I don't see the adoption of the engagement. You know, it's a similar situation that I had with introducing the show initially as a Rumble exclusive. There's still a lot of us on the conservative side that have not decided to adopt the alternate platforms. Now, you remember during COVID, we had Parler, and of course, Parler started to really have an uptick, and Google and the powers that be kicked them off of their servers. So the alternative platforms that we have now are starting from the ground up. I don't think Truth Social has got its stride yet, but that's just one, because of the fact that the engagement on X has gone down. I don't know what they're trying to achieve with the algorithm. And I will tell you that if you criticize Nikita Bear or Elon and you at them in a comment about the dissatisfaction of the algorithm, you will get throttled. You'll get smacked on the wrist. I tested this out and I learned the hard way that you will get throttled to nothing. They will make you invisible. They do not want to hear the dissatisfaction, and I don't know if they're going to address it. I saw a post earlier about the fact that the algorithm had been changed again or had been tweaked again, but it ain't good. It's not good. It's been on a downhill slide for the last month, and I'm continuing to see things worsening. People, just for instance, cat turd pops up on everybody's feed. But I have a lot of favorite content providers whom I engage with constantly, who are no longer popping up in my feed. And that makes no sense. There isn't any reason why the people that I would normally see, I'm not seeing anymore. Now, I don't know if that's a forget me not sort of a thing, out of sight, out of mind. Okay. Which is pretty bad because it's good for people who to be visible that are in your following, or that you follow, or that you engage with, because you can't really pay attention or remember every single person, that you like or that would have normally popped up in the feed a month ago. And it's really saddening. Today I had to go out and actually search for one of my favorite content providers. I'm like, why isn't anything popping up in the feed? And that could be because on their end, they're being throttled. But I've noticed that they are sprinkling in content that I would necessarily not want to see. And I don't know if that's because they're trying to mix things up and shuffle the cards, but I don't like it. And I don't think most of you do. So hence I have to, in order to be able to promote this show and get to the biggest audience that I can possibly get to, have to adopt other social medias, which I wasn't using before. So started up an Instagram today, and I tell you what, that was a learning experience, because no longer than 5 minutes did my account get suspended for nothing. I don't know. Anyways, it's under review and I didn't even do anything. Maybe it's the name, and maybe the name is already associated with, a certain personality, AKA me, and maybe Instagram doesn't want me on their platform to begin with. Also on TikTok now, and TikTok I have no complaints with. I just really don't know how that works. But you guys are going to help me out, and I'm going to start to get content from Truth. Maybe. Doesn't look like it's been adopted. As I said, when I tried to do Rumble, I had to go to YouTube because YouTube is what people knew. You're on X. You can't go to Truth because X is the one that everybody knows. Instagram, still don't know about Instagram. And TikTok seems to be a very popular platform. However, it just doesn't have all the other meat and potatoes that the other socials have. All right, so that's enough of my aside. Let's get to the fun for this week. And we're going to start with the top 5. Top 5 starts off with a whopping 2,700 engagements, views, and this was a reply to good old Candace Owens. I don't do a lot of replying to Candace. She's really wacky and not whom I listen to, but she popped up in the feed. So Candy posted this. Exclusive. Did Governor DeSantis unintentionally interrupt Laura's gender-affirming care? And she's talking about Laura Loomer with this. Is this why she callously accused Casey DeSantis of faking cancer just 10 days later? Many men have accused Larry of aggressive sexual assault, and yet she's never sued any of them for defamation. Laura publicly and consistently fantasizes about other people's husbands in particular. Is this evidence of repressed homosexual urges? Does Andrew Simpson know? Laura once demanded that Casey DeSantis release her medical records, and we're demanding the same for Laura. Receipts. And she's using that term, receipts, because Laura brings the receipts. Now, Candace, once again, whether you love her or hate her, and if you love her, something's wrong with you, is one of the craziest crackpots on the internet now. I used to respect her intelligence. I thought she was good, but she was a fake. We all know that Laura Loomer is not a dude. She knows Laura Loomer is not a dude, because her and Laura Loomer actually used to be close friends. So this is her smear to shit on Laura by trying to call her transgender, when everybody knows she's not a transgender. There's plenty of proof to be proven there that she was physically born a female and has always been a female. But it just caught me off guard, because you've got people defending Candace Owens, seriously, through this whole Erica Kirk thing and the whole Macron thing and all the other crazy conspiracy theories that she puts forward. And I told you, there was this point in time where I had to just stop So I don't even know the half of the wacky stuff. I'll tune in and live vicariously through somebody like a Claire Patriot who has a huge dislike for Candace and will highlight and spotlight all of Candace's lies and deceit. So I'll let others punish themselves paying attention to what Candace does. But this one caught me and I had to comment on it. And that comment is, what the actual fuck is this kind of shit you post? And of course, I asterisked out the original message. And I was trying to be somewhat professional, but we're on the show. What the actual F is this crap that you post as serious news, Candace? Have you lost your mind? I guess all your accused trannies should just flash their pussies to shut you up. P.S. Can you flash your pussy to prove that you're a woman? Or is that rude? I think you all can understand the concept of that. Here you go throwing out these accusations to clearly biological women, but you haven't proven that you're a biological woman. So is that hypocritical or not? That one got pretty good engagement. And as I said, the engagement's been down this week. So that is number one. And I went backwards. Now we're going backwards. We're already into it. Number two, posted by Sassafras. And this is, since when is Candace Owens President Trump's #1 advisor? Did we switch timelines and jump into the Matrix? LOL. What's happening here? I feel like we stepped into a crazy timeline. And my comment to this was, look, the woman's very sick. I commented on her post. If it's not obvious by now, she's in a deep mental episode. We all liked her before. She went batshit. And I'm serious. This is Britney level. She needs help. I didn't know that there was going to be 2 Candace posts this week. Obviously, Candace seems to be engaged and popular. This was Sassafras commenting on a post that won't pop up because I'm commenting on her comment. And that post was about Candace Owens claiming that she was one of Trump's top advisors, which is very weird because she was on the list of cut off conservative commentators. And we're talking about May 26th here, so we're only talking about a couple of days ago when she said this. Candace is batshit fucking crazy. She's lost her shit. If you thought Alex Jones was a conspiracy theorist, I think that Candace Owens may be shooting for that title. But that was the number 2. Now we'll go to number 3. And I'm sorry, I'm going backwards. And that one comes from Terrible. And her post says, well, check this out. Now, this one's good because there's a video element to it. So we'll check out the video element to it. Now, I know that maybe some of us have seen a jail cell, and some of us know what it's like to be in jail, even for, a day. Sometimes you make a little mistake and you may be in there for a day or 2 or 3, but you understand that when you're in jail, it is not a country club. So let's take a look at this because there was a 50-50 consensus on this, on whether or not this was the way that someone should be treated when they're in jail. Check this out.
Now let go of me. Get your hands off of me.
You need to stop.
It happened in September of 2024 at the Washington Correction Center for Women in Gig Harbor. An inmate arguing with officers about when she wanted to shower slipped out of her handcuffs and refused to comply with officers' orders before taking a swing at one of them.
I can't breathe. They're not doing anything. Hey, Mel, you're good.
I was pretty disturbed by what I saw, and specifically staff spraying OC or pepper spray within inches of her eyes.
Department of Corrections Secretary Tim Lang agrees with the findings in a report filed last year by the Office of Corrections Ombuds. Investigators determined the officers who used the pepper spray violated state policy by not staying more than 3 feet away from the offender when using the spray.
You see, This is what the problem is with my home state. This is the bullshit that is wrong with Washington State. And as I said, I'm from Seattle. I've actually been in Seattle jails before. Not for anything serious, so don't go looking into my past. But if you strike an officer, if you strike one of these guys, this must be new rules. And this must be for rules for females. Because if you're a 6'7" serial killer, okay, who's known to be violent, and they have to subdue you because you're not following rules, then they're a lot heavier handed than this. When I saw this video initially, I thought they were being nice to her. They didn't assault her. They didn't hit her. They subdued her, and they subdued her, non-lethally. I don't know how else to say it. That's kid gloves if you compare it to some of the things that, I saw occur when people were unruly in jails and county jails and facilities. So my comment on that, which apparently was very interesting because it got, 1,000+ views, was that, yes, I don't think most of you people understand what jail is. Jail is not a summer camp. You have limited rights. And what you see here is actually watered down. No billy clubs, no tasers, and plenty of patience. You're no more than a rabid animal once you're locked up. So don't inject your civil rights fantasies to incarceration. If you're in jail, you're in jail for a reason, and you are dangerous. You are a caged animal, and people act differently. When you are pushed up against a wall, like they say, a cornered animal is the most dangerous. And humans are animals at nature. And these people could have gotten themselves hurt had they not taken swift action. Well, that was your number 3. Number 4 comes to you by Xavierad. And let's see what we posted on here. Xavierad. Oh, no. And this one was really disturbing. So parental advisory here. If you have kids, I would suggest if you're watching this that kids take a break or you pause here because this one is disturbing in many, many different ways. But here is number 4. I'll blow this up so you guys can see it. What we're seeing here is a gentleman holding a baby, and he is feeding her a joint. This little girl appears to be no more than 6. This one really, really bothered me. I've known people that have been this retarded in the past. I haven't seen this. I've never seen this in real life. However, I can understand the mentality behind someone who would do that while the mom is recording and laughing. They think this is funny. They think this is normal. This is a problem that we have in our community where this becomes to a point where you are going to record this and you think this is funny and you think this is non-harmful to this poor child who has no choice but to be force-fed drugs, essentially. So my comment on this is, what are you talking about? And I'm being sarcastic on this because the only way that I can react to this, and this is one of my classic, king of comments, because I know that the people that look at this are going to read between the lines and they're going to understand what I'm getting at here. So let's see if you take it in the same spirit which is intended. I say, what are you talking about? That's the white man's fault. Clearly the white man has conditioned this nice young man to feed weed to an infant. It's clearly systemic racism. And you're a racist if you think it's wrong. You get what I'm saying? We cannot make excuses for this kind of behavior, which we've been doing all the way through the Biden administration. This thing has gone downhill in the last 4 years, and it is moving at light speed, and that ball is rolling down the hill. And if we do not stop that ball from rolling down the hill, it's going to be chaos and bedlam. And that's in the black community. That's the nigga culture. That's the black fatigue that we're all seeing. I don't even like to talk about it because, frankly, it's wasting my time to comment on people that are a waste of space and a waste of time. and it's me criticizing my own community. These people are worthless. This guy's worth nothing. If he fell off a cliff today, I would neither rejoice nor be remorseful about it. I mean, we can do without this kind of behavior. It's crazy. Anyway, that said, on to number 5 as we do the countdown backward. This one comes from Claire Patriot. And Claire had a good point as we were watching 2 days ago after some sort of a soccer event in Paris. Or no, this is actually in concerns to the riots that are going on in New Jersey at the ICE facility. And she was really bothered about it. And she was responding to a post, and her comment was, is rioting now a protected constitutional right in America? I don't recall seeing that anywhere in the Constitution. Why are these leftist radicals allowed to riot, destroy property, and break laws with little to no consequences, while the rest of us have to follow the rules? It's a simple yet poignant question. Why? We have to walk in a straight line. But if you're illegal, or if you're ghetto, or if you're a crazy liberal who's pushing against ICE, then that's a whole other story. But we saw the 2-tiered justice system during the Biden administration. I'll bring it up again. This became normal. This became commonplace. The summer of love. We're going to let the inmates run the asylum, and we're not going to do much. And I would say that would be one big critique that I have of the, Homeland Security. Homeland Security, whom ICE is under, has really not done a good job at declaring this kind of thing a no-go. So I really thought about that, and a thought came to me, which was pretty simple, and it's in my comment. So I'm going to put forward a bold ideal here. You should, and said that Claire should bring it up on her show, Red Wave Unfiltered. The president, or the powers that be, need to dictate going forward that these riots will be treated like January 6th level events. Of course, they can protest, but the second that it gets out of hand, it'll be considered domestic terror. Now, understand where I'm coming from here. If you understand the nightmare that was January 6th, and them trying to shove down our throat that a peaceful protest where a few people got out of hand was an insurrection, and they pushed us on this narrative on us for 4 years. Well, we all saw what happened with the George Floyd Summer of Love, where people were killed, beat, robbed, burned. It was chaos, and it was utter destruction. And they never once addressed the fact that was 100 times worse than what happened on January 6th. Here's the shiny toy. It's over here. Look at this. The misdirection on January 6th versus the riots of the Summer of Love is staggering. And it always infuriated me. I know that there were a lot of white people with a lot of white guilt that didn't want to point the finger at a lot of black people and a lot of brown people doing a bunch of dumb shit because you're a racist, you're a bigot, you're a this, you're a that. And no one wanted to really come out and call these people on it. But now we have a chance where if you guys want a taste of your own medicine, then what you're pulling off here is tantamount to a January 6th level event. That's why I said a January 6th level event. We can't call it an insurrection, but we can say that it is domestic terror. These are organized groups, Antifa, and other organized groups that are clearly being paid. Now, I wouldn't say that's 100%. I'm sure there's a couple of dumb Karens out there who are in the middle of the mix and don't even know what they're doing. But these are highly organized, paid protesters that are committing violence on a daily basis to government officials, and it is unacceptable. This thing where now you can just kick a cop or talk shit to a cop or whatever. In my day and age, when they had the war on drugs, you would never do something like that. You were looking over your shoulders and your head was on a swivel because you would be prosecuted for these kind of things. You'd get in trouble for these kind of things. Well, that is your top 5 for this week. It got a little heavy there. Now we're going to go on to this week's segment of Roll the Tape.
Okay, roll the tape.
And we start this week off with something that I didn't get to last week and something that I brought up in other episodes where I tell all of the influencers that are out there, the top ones, including myself, that Dan Bongino had said a few months ago when he got right out of the FBI that the left is compiling a revenge list of conservative commentators and people that are just MAGA supporters. They're going to try and label us as terrorists if they ever get in charge again. So I want everybody to be cognizant of that. And that's why the midterms are going to be very, very important this year. It's been very encouraging to see what has happened in Texas and in Indiana and some of the other races where they thought that the people that were the established rhinos were going to make it through their primaries, and they didn't. So that says that the movement is still strong, but we need to be very, very weary about taking a bow and make sure that everyone does come out in the midterms and we retain power, because if we don't, then I think that there's some concern that they may try to come after some people. But here's Dom Lucre.
And not to creep you out, but our government and foreign governments do have enough money. I got a close friend that I'll tell you offline that actually experienced this. They send Mossad and CIA, sometimes FBI, to move into your apartment complex to keep an eye on you.
No way.
So I was dropping certain stuff, and so it happened to me in 2023. I've never said this before. 2023, there was an intelligence agency that had moved into my first apartment complex in Nashville. And bro, I don't know exactly if they listen to your phone, but these niggas would know when I would go out to walk my dog.
No.
They would know when I had to go out to eat and everything. And I wouldn't know it unless my friend told me. Like, this is what to look out for. But you'll have these people that's following you. If you go to the gym, them niggas gonna go to the gym too. Like, that's their actual job.
Dude.
They're waking up, going to sleep just to follow you because of the tweets that you had. They don't know what you were associated with. They don't know if you're just a conspiracy theorist, because some people post conspiracies and that shit be so right, they got to keep an eye on you. So I had that problem myself. I was getting to learn some things about the world. There was some things I posted, I was like, that was actually 100% true. But they don't know that I don't know it's 100% true. They trying to verify that, because if they find out I know it's 100% true, now they have to find out, where did he get it from?
Right.
Did he get it from the person that we already killed? Did he get it? You know, and that's just the reality of things. But they will send them there, and it could even happen to you. I learned that once you get 1 million followers, you get added, quote unquote, to a specific list of intelligence agencies, whether you're a good or bad creator.
That's crazy.
There's nowhere on the internet that can verify that, but they claim that intelligence agencies will add almost every American individual that gets 1 million followers and can achieve at least 1 million views at least once a month.
I could see that, because there's not many people that get to that level. Like,
it's not,
probably only tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands.
they don't have a really hard job.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. I mean, you have a whole entire department, an intelligence agency, to keep their eyes on influencers.
Dude, that's crazy. Yeah, I think they've also, on a spiritual level, they can enter your life too.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
viewing and whatnot.
Yeah, it's not just physical you got to worry about. You got to protect your energy.
Yeah, you have psychic. There's a psychic department of the CIA, so
Yeah.
that's self-explanatory. There's no need for that unless they believe in it.
Yeah, they can remote view your house, your
Mhm.
office, wherever they want, right?
Yeah,
Past, future.
it's pretty
It's
unfortunate.
crazy. Like, you can't get away with that. No, for real.
There's
like,
nothing you can do, like
your
remote
past
view
will
it,
always catch up to you. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's how they get dirt on people, to be
Mhm.
honest. Like, that'd be pretty smart.
because
way
it's
to
so
do it.
easy for them to know exactly what you did,
Yeah.
and they could even lie to you about might having some data they don't even have, but they just know you
Exactly.
did it.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, this was great. What do you got coming up next?
Now, I know it was a long video, but I wanted to, and, Dom, he's an entertaining guy, so, who knows how much of that is actual fact. However, the point that he's making about the intelligence agencies paying close attention to what's going on is definitely true. Think about it. The sources of media that we have now, since the revelation of the COVID days that we cannot trust the mainstream media. Now there's people like myself and many others, me on a much smaller scale than others. However, I am able to touch a market that is looking for truth and news and truth in reporting. I'm not a journalist. I never said that. We do this for entertainment purposes. And this is all just commentary that is all opinion based. And it is my opinion. And there are those that disagree and there are those that agree, which is how it is in life. So I don't myself feel like I've ever misrepresented anybody or anything or said anything harmful, but you just don't know. The point is, I support the current administration. I am MAGA through and through. I am a patriot. I am a conservative, and I am a Christian. And those things are the things that they seem to want to attack, no matter how much of one you are. And, you know, whether you're a level 10 this or a level 10 that. But, you know, I saw the video and it touched me because this was something that I've mentioned before and that we've talked about before on this show. And I think that we all need to be aware of it. And that's all that I'll say. So working up, and I was hoping to have a guest on this particular aspect, but we've talked about this before. And I know that you guys have seen this video. And this video comes out of Paris. And the commentary on this, and there were several videos here, is that Paris has fallen. Paris is a good example of what happens when you allow a huge amount of immigrants into your country. People that are not complementary to your culture. We have to pay attention to what's going on in first world countries. Here's Poland and here's France. In this particular example, you can see. So there's actually a difference here, okay? Now what you see here is Poland, and that's Poland celebrating with other Polish people, okay? So you see one side is Poland and the polar opposite is France. Now I don't pay too much attention to global politics other than I know that the New World Order has always used and that the deep state has always used the UK and other nations in Europe as the petri dish on how they would like to inject this kind of thing into the United States. And we really have to be paying attention to what's going on overseas, even myself. I know that we can be America first, which is what we should be, and we should be paying attention to what's going on in our own country. But we should also be aware of what they want to try to complete. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the next video that I'm going to post here is just a personal thing. I never pass too much judgment, but I'm one of the rare human beings on earth that doesn't have a tattoo anywhere. Now, like I said, I won't pass judgment on you, friends, family, spouses, other people have tattoos. And as long as it's, you know, tasteful, and in my case, don't get them on your neck and don't get them on your face, because the more tattoos that you have in conspicuous places like that, it just, to me, shows a certain mentality. I'll just call it that to be nice. You have to be a certain kind of person to not be concerned about that part of your appearance. But here's a video that I saw that I found very interesting, unexpected as you're looking at it, and here it is.
I honestly can't believe that I got these tattoos. Like, I regret all of them. I can't believe I ruined my body. It keeps me up at night.
Sad. It's sad after the fact to have a self-realization. Don't want to inject this with the same sort of caveat that I did with the vaccines last week. Several people were bothered that they had to face the fact that they had to damage themselves permanently. And it's the same situation with this. This poor young lady regrets it, but it's not like it's makeup. It's not like a pair of nails that she can take off. It's not like a haircut that she could grow out or that she could change. She's stuck with this for life. So I feel bad about that. Now, as we move on, we're going to move on to where I probably didn't want to go this week, but of course it's become, one of the top stories out there, and that's Black fatigue. But we'll start off with the lack of education in the current generation. Check this out. This is crazy. And I'm told that this was a skit, but we've seen it before, so I'm going to play it because I bookmarked it. Here we go.
The Carey tried to ambush the extortion scheme.
What does that mean?
I don't even know. I can't say that. Tried to ambush the extortion scheme.
What does that mean?
I don't know. The university student procured an off-campus accommodation via the platform Unishack. Unishack does that?
Now, even if that was just a parody, I think it's funny because we have many legitimate videos of them going to high schools and colleges and there not being basic rules. Now, I know if you watched last week's episode, you know that we showed the new fad of these proms where cats are making it rain and extravagant tailor-made suits and renting, $100,000 cars, and their parents taking out either loans or taking out their life savings so that these guys can walk around in front like they're rich. But it's a new part of the culture that I don't think I can understand. So, on to the next video. And here we go. Another concerned Black citizen. Check it out.
If you're a Black American, I need you to stay right here. If you're not, I'll give you a few seconds so you can go on and scroll on by. Great. Okay. We need to have a talk. It comes to a point where supporting and defending your community just it becomes so exhausting that you feel this frustration and you start to understand why people have the Black fatigue that they talk about. The Houston Rodeo, a family event. You have people there fighting, stealing, acting like menace to society, lawlessness, at an event that's supposed to be a fun, family-oriented event. You have Ruth Chris now saying, hey, we don't want to do this, but you guys are forcing our hand. We're going to have to enforce a dress code policy because how you guys are coming in here with your pants sagging, looking sloppy, all of these things we just cannot allow. So then you sit back and you wonder why other races will say, we have Black fatigue. Guess what? I'm Black and I have Black fatigue.
Yeah.
Of the wrong type of people in our community, because let me preface this is not all Black people. This is not. You have people over here making life miserable for other fellow Americans because you have no manners, you have no standards, you have no morals. I don't care how you were brought up. If you were raised in the hood, if you were raised in some, I don't care. Having character and manners will always take you far. So no, I don't blame people when they say no. We don't want your kind over here.
We're going to get more and more of this, and I said this last week. You're just going to see more and more Black people, and you're going to see more and more white people that are not scared to say this. Now, of course, this young lady puts this video out here, and she puts herself in the same category as I am, where people are going to call you an Uncle Tom or a house nigga or whatever, which is really not an insult. What has happened is we have devolved. There is a segment of the community that has evolved backwards. There was a thing that we learned about being civility. What was that class that they would teach you where they taught you manners? Decorum. There's a basic way that we live in life to make ourselves successful, to navigate in the world successfully, and to be able to talk to people and look them in the face. It's hard to learn how to do this. This is why everyone has to go through, their childhood and have to learn how to be able to communicate with others, how to work with others, and how to act, to understand, to be self-reflective, to understand how they are perceived outwardly. And I'm not saying social awkward. I mean, you can use that as a sort of a term where there's people that are socially awkward, and that's understandable, but that's a quirkiness. It's not for lack of trying. And I think that we have a large part of the community that has just stopped trying to act civil, stopped trying to act with manners and with dignity. And we're going to get more of this, and we're going to see more of this. Here's a good example of bad parenting and where the community is as far as parents go. And this is disturbing, ladies and gentlemen, because they think this is cool. And here's this kid. Roll it. Now, this is this kid's parents. This is another disturbing video of a child, and that's 2 in a day. And I'm sorry, guys. I just can't understand how you can program your kids. This kid has a terrible future in front of him. And I hope that someone interjects themselves. And I wonder whatever happened to CPS with a lot of these situations that I see. These people should be in jail for this. And that kid should not be holding on to a gun like that and should not be playing around with that. Like, it is not respected with the seriousness that it should be respected. It's sad. Well, check this out. This is a don't try it at home moment. You might have a laugh off of it. Check it out. Whoo, boy. I had to have a laugh on that one. What else do we got here? Now, here's an interesting take, and the ladies aren't going to like it, but here's a psychiatrist who's making a little bit of hay, and this is Dr. Mark McDonald, who has a very specific take on the current status of the sexes here. You check it out. You tell me what you think. I believe
that women are disproportionately, as a sex, disproportionately destroying this country. And I also believe that it is enabled by weak men. So I want to be very clear. I'm not attacking women. I'm attacking both sexes. But we attack men, and rightly so, all the time for excessive aggression, violence, sexual predation, as we should. But we never, ever criticize women for their errors, for their sex-specific flaws, which are largely uncontrolled, uncontained emotion, which explodes and leaks out into horribly destructive areas, such as the sexual mutilation and hormonal castration of young children, most of whom are girls, and most of which is led by women therapists, women teachers, women surgeons, women clinical directors, women politicians, women legislators. Even mothers in families are largely driving this, not men, not fathers. Of course, the fathers, they're just standing around letting it happen. So I'm not saying that they're guiltless or blameless, but I'm saying they're not stepping up. And we need strong, ethical men to stand up and to contain the excesses of what I would call toxic femininity. And we have lost that balance in our society. And if we don't get it back, we are gonna fall as a nation. We are already teetering. And we are very close to the precipice. So our problems today, we could say, oh, the political divide, a lot of politics. Politics is a symptom of an underlying problem. I believe that.
Now, I'm not a misogynist. There's definitely some points there that need to be addressed. And I know that a lot of my audience will look at this and go, that ain't me, because you're conservative. Most of you guys are family-based and conservative and Christian and all the other things that are the opposite of the craziness that's on the left. And I think that he probably was trying to skirt over just pointing out that this is mostly progressive, liberal, democratic thought processes. And that's the whole transing of the kids thing and trying to call it, gender affirming health care and trying to call abortions health care and trying to muddy the waters of what is rational and moral. But he does have a point that most of it is point guarded by women. And he also makes a good point about the fact that there aren't enough men standing up to say, no, this is not how it's going to go. We know that Elon is a great example of someone who came out and pointed out the woke mind virus and his dissatisfaction with the fact that his first son was brainwashed, and mostly by the mother, into believing the fallacy that he was a woman, and that they facilitated that, they encouraged that, they supported that. And that's not the way that things are done. We can't support kids and we can't support young people's fantasies. They're malleable. And I think that it's one of the most despicable things that you could possibly do is to try to convince a child that they are one thing or the other. We have to all grow into that. I know that all of us that are grown now understand that your experiences make who you are as a human being. And to take that away from someone is evil, and it's really deceptive. And anyone who can look themselves in the mirror after, irreversibly damaging their own child, there's really something wrong with them. And that's just my opinion on it. Well, that is the end of Roll the Tape. Let's go to Comment of the Week.
And now for the comment of the week.
Now, to tell the truth, this one's more of a video than it is an actual comment, but it sparked me to do something that I've never done, and that's to create a meme. I just thought this shit was hella funny when I saw it. I'll play the video for you guys, and then I'll play the comments on it. And here's Claire. Sorry to use you twice, Claire. And I know that I don't think you liked the meme because you didn't respond back to it, so I don't think you liked me poking fun at you, but I know that you're not light. Your skin is not brittle. So check out the video first. It's about Gwyneth Paltrow and her
Boyd, you want to one trick
suggestions
that I
on
do?
dairy.
I dice up arugula and I put it in. Really? It sounds weird, but it kind of adds like a nice texture to it, and it's delicious.
Life is too short to be eating some effing arugula. Put the cheese in your mouth. Like that. Eat the cheese. Life is too short. Just skip on the cheese. Freaking crazy.
You want to avoid.
Eat the cheese. Man, I laughed out loud when I saw that. So I responded back to her. Eat the cheese. Oh my God, that's the funniest vid this week. I promise you that I'm going to make a meme out of this. And here is my meme of that. Tell me if you guys like it. First time.
Put the cheese in your mouth.
No.
Like that. Eat the cheese.
Boy, you can be creative when you want to be. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for What's in the Feed. Hopefully this was a good one. I feel like we touched on a bunch of subjects. Please tune in every week for What's in the Feed, Tuesday on Rumble, YouTube. Do not forget to download the podcast on Podbean. I will see you on Truth X, Instagram, hopefully, and TikTok. Till next week, everybody. Thank you. What's in the Feed?